Hi, Holly Stokes with the Brain Trainer here, and welcome to class. Easily make great looking ads and flyers and social media with easy, even low cost and free tools. As a business owner in practice for 14 years and running a solo practice and then also opening a wellness center, along the way in the 14 years, I've made a lot of mistakes and faux pas. And you don't want those faux pas in your marketing. So I'm going to share with you some of the shortcuts, some quick and easy ways to recognize bad looking ads and flyers, and some key principles for actually creating your ads and flyers better and improving how they show up and how they represent you. And you can also definitely apply these same skill sets to social media as well. So let's go ahead, jump in and get started. Welcome to the class. Make great looking flyers and ads and even social media with free and low cost tools. We're going to jump right in and we're going to identify what are some of the worst kind of faux pas that you could be making in your flyers, social media, and what are the key principles to making your materials really represent your brand, your business, and attracting attention and getting new clients in the door. So we'll go through this segment recorded. I'll have everyone muted, and then we'll open up the lines and have a little more of interactive sharing to talk about these concepts. The first piece to think about is where can you use great marketing materials to work for your business? So the obvious one that most people start out with, especially new business owners, is business cards. Your business cards are often the very first representation that people have of you. So there's getting a great printed business card is a key. You might also use your materials if you have a brick and mortar office. I use some of the flyers in office because we have clientele coming in for massage, which also have shared interest in some of the other services that we offer, including hypnotherapy and NLP and coaching. So you might include some flyers in your office. It can also, even if you're meeting with clients one-on-one, your in-office flyers can also advertise some of the retail products that you might have available as well. And so it's kind of an easy way to have some passive advertising office and get people to be aware of what you offer and to make more sales there. Now, I've also had the use of rack cards or brochures that you can ask complimentary partners, power partners, to share in their offices as well. And so there's some great ways that you can refer for other business owners that are complementary to what you do and that they can also refer to you. So in the world of hypnotherapy, I found that chiropractors make great referral partners, as well as personal trainers that we can get people unstuck in some of those places where they're not staying on track with their goals. So that's another option. And then you can also create ads online. Of course, there's a growing trend in the use of social media. And in social media, we want the visuals that we're adding around our business to really represent our brand and to look great. So here's just some ideas that you can identify where could these materials fit for your business. Now, of course, if you're doing events, you might have different flyers that either you send out to your mailing list or flyers that you're posting in certain places that are also complementary to what you do and looking for that same clientele. So be thinking of this in the back of your mind. Where could great advertising marketing materials work for my business? And so many people are online in the social media world, and so that becomes an easy place to get started with some of these tools. And we'll talk about these tools more near the end. But first, let's dive into some of the worst mistakes. This is a great quote. I love sharing it. If you are in business for yourself, your number one job is marketing. So this comes from T. Harv Eker, the author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And so as a business owner, it is so important to really understand marketing. Even if you're hiring someone, you'll still want to pay attention to the details. Even if you're working with a graphic designer, you want to make sure that you're recognizing that you're kind of having a glance at what they're doing. Now, over the years, I've actually had several interns that have come in to learn the marketing skills and background that I'm working with. And in that process, these interns often come with, some great ideas for design, but they're still making some of these very common mistakes. So I really want to share these key principles with you of what to avoid and what to do instead, so that you can get your marketing on track easily, even if you're teaching marketing interns to work with you and to represent your brand and your business. So, it's a good idea to recognize the psychology of marketing. So just to break this down a little bit, psychology is simply the study of what we think, feel, and do as humans. And marketing is how you get the word out about your business and what you do. And so when we put these together, there's kind of some background information that may not be out there in the world at large, but that we can bring to this process to really recognize how is your marketing either creating connection with your ideal client, or is your marketing kind of keeping you from attracting people that you want to attract to your business? So here we're jumping into the worst mistakes in marketing. And the number one worst mistake, so in this process, I'm showing all of my faux pas that I've had over the years. But you can see that there's so much going on. It's just too busy. There's so much going on in this. One is the border around. There's also the bullets in the middle. There's kind of a headline there, but it's not really clear. And then there's some CD sets there on the bottom left. And in this, it's just your mind doesn't know where to look. And yes, you can read, but people really, you want to think about people and your consumer. They're so busy that often they feel scattered or overwhelmed. So if they see something like this, they may not pay attention to really look at what is being offered and what this special is. So when you're putting your marketing materials together, make sure that there's not too many concepts on what you're advertising or what you're offering. And we'll talk about the what to do instead principles as well. The worst mistakes, number 2, bad picture. So the bad picture doesn't refer to me there. The bad picture actually refers to this guy at the top. This is from one of my old websites. Now my designer guy really liked this picture and he put that in. He thought it was motivational. But then I started talking to some other people and their response was, the guy at the top looks like he's crawling out of the pits of hell. So that red sky does not look fun and inviting and beautiful to them. It's actually that red, glaring, too hot, too like apocalypse type of photo, which is not the feeling that I want people to have when they're visiting my website or associating with my business. So kind of keep in mind, even if you like a picture or your designer likes a picture, you want to think about what is that picture? What is the message, the underlying message that it's conveying? So I see that as a sunset and the guy is like achieving, yay, but obviously that stark red color has other connotations or associations for other people. So pay attention. It may not just be about what you like, but what is the emotional message that is conveyed with that picture? And what are the side emotional messages conveyed? And we'll talk more about this on the key principles as well. Working with a designer or when you're putting together your own materials, there is what is the message, the obvious message that the picture conveys, but what is the non-obvious message? What is that underlying theme or feeling of that picture as well. If it's too texty, it's unsexy. So this comes from a brochure that I had, and this goes like 2010, this is a mock-up of that. And in this brochure, this is the inside of the brochure, so the outside has a little more visual. But when you look at this, do you actually want to read it? So our culture is moving more and more away from reading text. People won't even read Facebook posts if they're more than a paragraph. They just scroll or skip it because it takes too long, and we want our information much quicker in the digital age. So this is just too much text. It makes it non-attractive, and people might open it up, and maybe because there's so much text, they might even feel overwhelmed, and so they'll fold it up and not take action on it. Which we want people to take action. You're spending time and money in your marketing materials, so we really want people to take that action with you. And worst mistake number 4, unfocused. So here you can see there's an advertisement on the left-hand side that has 3 offers, and this, I'm sharing some of my worst mistakes here. So these 3 offers are different groups, programs that I wanted people to connect with. But then you can see that it's so confusing that people are like, I don't know where to get started. I don't know what to do next. So on the right side, if there's too much confusion, it's unfocused, there's not a direct, here's the next step, then people get overwhelmed. Try to keep in mind that people are already overstressed, overscheduled, overwhelmed. So they're trying to filter out what is specifically important to them and what they need to pay attention to, rather than what they can just ignore or let go of. So if it's unfocused, you're not going to get the result that you want with your marketing. So I have here on the right side, experience the magic of NLP coaching or hypnosis. So an even better strategy would be to hand out those as coupons or ways for people to take a next step with me. That's an easy way to say yes. And then from that first connection or first hypnosis session or NLP session, then we can talk about what's a good fit for them and how to move them forward. So here's another example of, if it's unfocused or if it's confusing, it gets overwhelming and people will not make a decision. So I encourage you to get really clear, one specific offer on each marketing piece rather than having too many things going on at once. Okay. Worst mistake number 5 is no CTA, no call to action. So you can see this is a beautiful sky, a great overlook. There's a date there's a question at the top. So questions are actually good. They can hook your attention and your awareness. And your mind, anytime you ask a question, your mind has to go find the answer. So questions are good, especially for advertising. But you can see there's a date for a class, but I don't know what to do about that. And then down at the bottom, there's a URL. So there's an implied call to action, like check out this class, but it doesn't say that. And people are so busy and scattered in the day-to-day that they're actually scrolling by fast. And if it doesn't say specifically, take this next step, people will not, it won't register, they won't take it. The other thing, if you look at this title, this question, what fills your life with wonder? Well, that's a great idea. That's a great question. But where does it go from there? People don't know from this advertising what they're going to get by going to the link or going to the class. And people are so overscheduled, overbusy, overwhelmed that if it doesn't fit with what's urgent priority for them right now, they're probably not going to take a peek and take action. So not having a clear call to action is another piece that makes it not urgent, or that gets your marketing or your message missed. So I'm sharing just my bad marketing over the years. So now we can kind of look at some of these other pieces of marketing, and we can look at what's right with them, what's wrong with them. So if you look at this, what do you notice? Does it have a visual appeal? Is it clear about what to do? Is there a call to action? There's some of these elements, but there's also some competing elements that don't quite fit. You can see I've got the purple text there and the white text underneath, and I've got the image of the person with the blue brain. But it's there's a little too many concepts that are going on here to be clear. And what is the next step? It's not super clear as to what that next step is or why people would want to attend, what benefits they would get from it. Now we're going to open up the lines and we'll chat a little bit about some of these worst mistakes and what else you notice about some of these examples here. So we'll go ahead and stop the recording and open up the lines.